marrying a guy who proposed to me while I was on the toilet. But now I'm wondering if I made the right choice after sharing the story with friends. It's not as bad as sounds. My friends are just obsessed with that part. I think. Fake names. My 32 effions Peter 30M had arranged a candlelight dinner in a hotel room. There were flowers, rose petals, and music. There was my favorite dinner and my favorite dessert. Peter was in a tuxedo. I was wearing a dress. That evening was so amazing. While I was eating, my IBS started acting up. I ran to the bathroom. It was mortifying, but at least I was comfortable enough with Peter to allow him to come in. I was apologizing for ruining our evening while I was on the toilet, and he said it's okay. I felt like he wanted to ask me to marry him the whole evening. I told him I love him, and he said I love you too. I told him, I'm sure you'll take care of me in sickness and in health. That comment made Peter smile, and he got down on one knee. I didn't care that this was the situation. I was so happy to say yes. I felt like he wouldn't have asked that evening if I didn't say the in sickness and in health comment. I told my best friend Kate, 33F, and another friend Bailey, 33F. I told them the truth. Kate said it's weird, creepy, and an awful move on his part. I explained that he likely would have put it off if I didn't mean the health comment. Kate said I was desperate, and that I should have some respect for myself. Bailey said, if I thought Peter would ask another time, then I should have let him ask another time. Before talking to them, I thought I has the sweetest proposal story. Now I feel like an a-hole who caused my amazing fiancé to have a terrible story. Am I the a-hole?
Next story.
Refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she insulted my body during a family gathering. Now, she's accusing me of ruining her big day. But I feel disrespected and hurt. So I, 21F, have always had a bit of a rocky relationship with my older sister, 26F. We're pretty different in a lot of ways. She's always been super into fashion and makeup, while I'm more laid back and focus on school and work. Despite our differences, I thought we were at least civil, until recently. My sister is getting married next year, and she's been really excited about finding the perfect wedding dress, since she's trying to save money for other wedding costs. She asked if I'd help pay for her dress as a sisterly gesture. I recently got a decent paying job and was willing to help her out, even though I thought it was a weird request. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, we were at a family gathering and I was wearing this dress I felt good in, but I'm not a size 2. Out of nowhere, my sister made a snarky comment in front of everyone about how brave I was for wearing something so tight I was embarrassed, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I let it slide. Later that night, she made another comment, this time in private, about how she'd never wear something like that unless she lost weight. I got upset and told her that what she said really hurt my feelings, but she brushed it off, saying she was just being honest now. I don't feel like helping her out with the wedding dress anymore. I told her this, and she flipped out, calling me selfish and petty. She says I'm ruining her big day over a joke, and that it's not fair for me to back out when I already agreed to help. My parents are saying I should just let it go and help her, since that's what sisters do, but I feel like she crossed a line.
Next story.
Attempting to leave my sister at the airport without telling her while traveling together, knowing she would panic and struggle. Now she's furious and accusing me of being selfish, but I felt overwhelmed by her behavior. My sister 20F and I 23F traveled to a wedding together. We attended nearby colleges and would hang out, but we haven't been close since high school. I can objectively say that my sister doesn't like me because she admitted it. When she was still in high school, she said I changed and hated how excited my mom be when I came home and took it out on me. We worked it out, but I think she still doesn't like me. It was a stressful trip, we were both tired, but she has a vitriolic way of speaking to me that she doesn't to anyone else. We hashed out a fight before we got on the plane home, but got into another after I asked to do laundry at her dorm, and she declined. This enraged me because I would often do her laundry for her at my college house as a favor, because she didn't want to do it herself. My sister doesn't know how won't do things sometimes because my parents or I will do them for her. An example being traveling long distances alone. I hate giving in but often do to keep the peace. We got into another fight about getting back from the airport. I wanted to take the train because it's cheaper and she wanted to Uber because it was late and she was tired. I remarked that if I was alone I would just take the train and she lost it. She hates when I give her advice and thinks that I'm being condescending. We used to joke around a lot, but now she takes everything I say as an offense. We deplaned and I beelined for the bathroom, deciding to take the train she can just Uber alone. I know this is mean-spirited, but she's an adult, and I didn't want to be around her anymore, so I just left while she was still in the bathroom. She repeatedly called me and I didn't answer until I reached the train shuttle, saying I'm just doing what she told me to do during our argument and taking the train alone. She starts panicking and says that she'll come with me on the train, so I finally relent and tell her how to get to me. I still don't want anything to do with her, but she yells at me on the shuttle and sits next to me on the train and starts crying. She finally says that she was going to apologize when we got out of the bathroom, But now she'll never forgive me. It's a quick Uber ride from the train, but hers doesn't come, so I let her in mine and add a stop to get her home. I was supposed to sleep at her dorm but stayed with a friend instead to avoid her until my train home tomorrow, since I flew with her instead of an airport closer to home. I'm not speaking to her still. Our dad was awake and I told him I'm not talking to her until my parents make her go to therapy. I'm going to hold firm because I've had enough and she's just going to keep resenting me and treating me like shit unless something changes. Maybe this will be enough to shake things up so she can work through her feelings towards me alone, but either way, I don't want anything to do with her while she hates me so much.
Next story.
Crashing my friend's wedding after not receiving an invitation, only to find out they deliberately left me out. Now they're upset, but I feel hurt and confused. I'm part of a tight-knit group of friends, there's 6 of us, who have mostly been together since school, with one joining later. Well, last year one of the girls, let's say Janet, got engaged and we were all very excited. She had said she wanted all the girls to be bridesmaids with her sister as maid of honor. At the engagement party, Janet was going to give the bridesmaids little gifts each to say thank you. All the girls got one apart from me. I was a little upset but did say anything until about last December when one of the others mentioned about dress shopping. They had assumed I was invited but I hadn't heard anything about it. When I asked Janet, she simply said I wasn't going to be a bridesmaid, so should I be invited? I respected her decision, but asked if I could come along to the meal afterwards. Janet said yes, and I met the girls at the restaurant. While we were having food, Janet kept on about how gorgeous her dress was, and how beautiful all the other girls looked in their bridesmaids' dresses. I thought nothing of it and assumed they were just excited about the dresses. Of course, I was a little envious, but I didn't say anything. At the end of the meal, I asked the girls what color the dresses were again, so didn't pick to wear a similar color. Janet went mad. You are not wearing a dress to my wedding. When I asked why she said that, it was because I'll look better than all of them. I didn't know what to say. I'm overweight and have an awful complexion. I'm not what others would call beautiful by any means. Some of the girls later said she was still upset that I wore a pink dress to prom and how I stole the show from her anyway. With everything going on, the wedding was postponed until recently. I had completely forgotten about Janet's rant last year and wore a pastel blue knee-length dress. When I arrived at the reception, the only part you're allowed guests, Janet freaked out. She threw a complete fit, screaming and shouting that I was ruining her big day. I told her she needs to stop being so insecure, especially about me. She's the one who got married after all. She then threw red wine on my dress and said that's for crashing my wedding. The other girls tried to calm her down, but she was insistent that I was only doing it to make her look bad. 2 of the girls had a go at me for even showing up. You knew how much this means to her. I left in tears. I had a ruined dress and had lost my friends who all think I was insensitive and an asshole. Everyone has pretty much blocked me on everything. I honestly don't know what I did wrong or what was so bad that everyone's turned on me.